Right, back to my Doctor Who Writers set of videos. This time, third time's the charm. I did consider putting Jamie Matheson on this list, but yeah, since he has 4 episodes, whereas all the rest of these range from 6 to 9 to 38 to 24. But I decided to keep him a separate video for later and go with the 3 times the charm writers, to which there are only actually 2 of them. The first one is Stephen Thompson, who, as the title suggests, has written 3 episodes of new Doctor Who in the last few years. His first one being the 2011 Series 6 episode, The Curse of the Black Spot. This is an episode that I don't necessarily consider the best of Series 6. I think it's decent. The main reason that I've singled it out in the past few years is because I didn't actually realise until much later after the episode came out that the captain of the episode was played by Hugh Bonneville, a name that I recognised. Maybe it's just because I didn't watch Downton Abbey, but I was still surprised I didn't recognise him. But then when I went back and looked at him, I thought, oh yeah, so it is. So yeah, The Curse of the Black Spot, not the best, but it's a decent episode. The next one he did was 1 year later, 2 years later, Series 7's Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, which I don't necessarily think is a bad episode, but to me it's very confusing. I don't know, maybe, I personally would put it pretty low on my list of favourites for Series 7. It's not bad, but I just feel at times it gets a little overly complicated, but then again, that might just be his writing style. And the final one that Stephen Thompson has written for Doctor Who, is technically a co-wrote with Stephen Moffat, is one of my personal favourites, Series 8's Time Heist. Usually when I'm talking about personal favourite Doctor Who episodes over the years, I tend to mark personal favourites from each series, and yeah, usually I have either 1 or 2 personal favourites that I admit aren't the best, but I still enjoy them. And the 2 that I chose for Series 8 are Mark Gatiss' episode Robot of Sherwood and Stephen Thompson's episode Time Heist. Now, as I say, it's co-written with Stephen Moffat, but this to me is just a whole bunch of fun, and while I haven't seen that many heist movies, Time Heist to me feels it's fun. It works with what it's given, and it does extremely well. I mean, it's basically Doctor Who does a robbery movie, and that's cool. So yeah, Stephen Thompson did 3 episodes: The Curse of the Black Spot, Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, and Time Heist. And out of his 3, I personally think Time Heist is my favourite. The other writer who said 3 times the charm is Peter Harness. And his ones, I think one is usually ranked fairly low by people, one of them is fairly high, and one comes in the middle. The one that I've heard people usually have a bit of a problem with is Series 8's Kill the Moon, which I admit I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, once again, like Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, it's not necessarily bad. I don't know if it was really my type of episode. I mean, the moon is an egg, it's got spider germs all over it, and it eventually hatches to reveal a giant bat. I mean, the episode, it's a little bit nonsensical, and mainly I think it just served as a way of solidifying the rift that was growing between the Doctor and Clara. I mean, once again, there are people out there who like this episode. I personally am not really one of them, but so yeah, Peter Harness's first story, Kill the Moon, that one's pretty low for me. His next episode is actually the one that I consider his best, and that's another one that he partially co-wrote with Stephen Moffat, and that's the Series 9 2-parter, The Zygon Invasion and The Zygon Inversion. This, I feel, is his best out of his three, this one I feel is the best out of them. I mean, the Zygon invasion, they managed to once again, although they had reintroduced the Zygons the previous year, or previous 2 years ago with the Day of the Doctor, the Zygon invasion kind of perfectly shows kind of how reintroduces back into the canon the Zygon shows how scary and how kind of manipulative they could be, and it manages to work them into the story very well. I mean, the one part that everyone talks about is Peter Capaldi's speech, kind of towards the end of part two, and I don't know whether that was mainly Harness's work or whether it was mainly Stephen Moffat, but either way, it works brilliant. Kind of, and considering kind of what was going on at the time, as at the time we were all dealing with we were kind of dealing with a big event that had happened. I personally won't go into it here, but considering real life events, suddenly his words took on a lot more meaning and made the episode a lot more powerful. So yeah, I personally feel the Zygon invasion and the Zygon inversion, out of the three he's done, that's the strongest one for Peter Harness. His last one on the list is The Pyramid at the End of the World from Series 10. And while I rank Kill the Moon fairly low and the Zygon invasion slash inversion fairly well, Pyramid at the End of the World I feel comes somewhere in between. I personally was not a huge fan of the Monk trilogy. Extremis, The Pyramid at the End of the World, Lie of the Land. I admit I wasn't a huge fan of them, but after having looked back on them, they got their place in the world, and I do kind of think, while Extremis was a little overly confusing, The Pyramid at the End of the World, looking back, it's pretty decent. And you know what? I don't know if it's the strongest part of the Monk trilogy. I'm not sure whether the strongest part could go to The Pyramid at the End of the World or The Lie of the Land. But you know what? I'd say it's decent. He made a decent attack at it, but I do feel that Peter Harness's strongest episode or story is the Zygon invasion and the Zygon inversion. So there you go. The third's the time, right? Third time's the charm. Writers Stephen Thompson and Peter Harness. From the two of them, I think their strongest episodes are Time Heist and the Zygon invasion slash inversion. So, okay, from this point on, I'm not going to really be looking at groups of writers, but more each individual writer, seeing as they range from 4 episodes to 6 to 9 and so on. So the next one I'm going to try and take a look at some point is Jamie Matheson. But until then, have a good time.